Ich glaube, ich habe dich auf einem YouTube-Video gesehen. Bist du das wirklich? Biohacking?
So, you know, I don't want to drift into a political discussion here, but, you know, you don't necessarily need to have, you know, centralized government for countries to work together, for example. Obviously, you hope they don't fight, right? But I think, you know, there should be, if there are not opposing forces pulling in either direction, then, you know, tension is what creates discussion, tension is what creates debate, tension is what makes each side have to rethink its opinions. Without that, you're just shooting in one direction, right? So I think it's probably a good thing. And I would
Gängigsten und für mich liebsten Definitionen von Biohacking das Nachbauen eines natürlichen Umfelds in einer unnatürlichen Umgebung ist und dass man da zumindest mit diesen, ich sage es jetzt mal, stationären Biohacks, was du hier im Lab halt auch siehst, also sprich Eisbad. Ist halt, die Kälte ist halt der Gebirgsbach, Rotlichttherapie ist halt der Sonnenaufgang oder der Sonnenuntergang, die UVB-Lichttherapie ist halt quasi die perfekte Mittagssonne. Der Nano-V generiert halt das EZ-Wasser, was du sonst perfekt hydriert in der Sonne selber bilden würdest, wenn du 2 Stunden im Adamskostüm jeden Tag in der Sonne liegen könntest. Das heißt, da ist ganz viel dabei. Selbst die Sauerstoffkammer, die ein bisschen abwegig erscheint, hat auch durchaus Anleihen an die Folgen von einem Höhentraining, wenn du dich ins Hochalpine und wieder zurückbegibst. Das heißt, das ist alles tatsächlich, es sind tatsächlich sehr naturartige oder bei Naturvölkern auch schon
Yeah, so there's this idea of biphasic sleep, and you'll hear lots of different opinions about this. In short, there's some historical evidence suggesting that some people once slept biphasically. They would have an initial sleep period, and then perhaps in the middle of the night they would wake up and do something relaxing. Maybe they'd have sex, and then they go back to sleep and wake up in the morning.
I think that biohacking actually came from that wish, from that inner demand to take back control, that we're more and more aware of that we're being controlled. We don't like it. And we're being manipulated and being sold stuff that you don't really need, and everyone is anyways materially, you know, well off. Why don't I feel happier? And still, you know, we see these messages, and some primal system in our body is responding to them. So when someone says, hey, you really need that, and emotionally connects with us in order to feel happier, and then we still, there's one part, rationally we say, well, I don't really buy it, and then there's another part, yes, I think I do buy it, you know, and then we do it. And so biohacking, I do think, is looking inside the car, staying with the car metaphor, and really figuring out, okay, how does that oil change really work?
Hello friend, welcome back to Auto Resource YouTube channel. This is 98 Nissan Frontier 2-wheel drive with 5-speed manual transmission, and the last job which is remaining on it is replacing the oil.
We do evolve as well, and there is, I think, 0.3% of genetic adaptation in a generation. So what we create around us and how we live, we do adapt to that, but very, very, very slowly. And not nearly fast enough in order to get to a level. So we are really personally on a track to eternal unhappiness if we don't.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
No. So out of that, though, see, it's just like if you go back, let's say, historically, back in the 70s, a doctor reported that running was beneficial for longevity. And so out of that, there became the development of professionals and mentors and coaches. And then the development of technology. This guy's using these type of shoes. This guy's using this type of hydration product, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually, big insurance companies come in and they're sponsoring a local race. And then there's a national race. And then there's a world championship. And then so out of those feeder groups, we set a bar of what is the highest standards of that particular field and what are the things that person's particularly using. And so from that, we can carry that over to the regular public. I'll give you another example, like cars.
I've put the light there already, so you can see that level checking / filling port and also the drain port. So the lever check, right, and the fill, it's right here. And this is the...
Primitiv, dass sie halt, ich meine, das ist das Schöne, dank Biohacking Weiss, das läuft ja alles über die Dopaminachse ab, was da abläuft. Und wo gab es früher Dopamin? Das waren die 3 Fs. Und klar, das iPhone müsste auch ein Pfeifphone sein, weil das offensichtlich generell Dopamin produziert, aber auch da ist es natürlich von den Inhalten so, wenn mein digitales Spielzeug dann am besten noch die entsprechend Appealing-Inhalte wie Fressen oder Ficken transportiert, ist es halt auch spannender. Ich meine, wenn die Darreichungsform eigentlich 1 Milligramm exemplarisch gesagt in den Studien war oder 3 Milligramm und du gibst dann halt 250 Mikrogramm am Tag mal 3 und der Bedarf ist dann teilweise schon einer ganz festen Überzeugung, dass das, was man da macht, hilft und bis dato waren die Bioregulatoren beispielsweise halt eher so eine Geschichte, wo man immer gesagt hat,
Man should return to his source, and this source is in his divine origin, whether we like it or not. We got used to subscribing to Darwin's theory, but the thing is, it's only a theory. That's why it's called Darwin's theory of evolution. The trouble is that mankind remains blind to the fact that all illnesses, pandemics, and human suffering is nothing but divine retribution for what we're doing. Whenever God sends a disease into our world, He always supplies a remedy. We only need to discover it.
one, guys. Apple filed a patent application for a ring computing device back in April 2014, which the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office just published this week. The patent describes a ring with a touchscreen, computer processor, wireless transceiver, and reach. I can't stop laughing. That was so good.
Like, if you have the disease, like, you need treatment now, you have to spend money now. But I would love to see, you know, more of a kind of a bridging between the two, because I think both sides, the medical side is like, these guys are not validated, do not know what they're talking about. On the wellness side, it's like, yeah, the medical establishment is like so corrupt and like.
Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Biohacking out of necessity. I was depressed. I'd been diagnosed with Lyme disease. My whole body hurt. I was exhausted a lot of the time. I felt like I had early onset dementia, the memory of a goldfish. So
after 2 minutes, they only moved to one space. So here comes the after. After 7 weeks of intense training, would these fish improve at all? Would they even know where to find their food? Would they end up starving?
yeah, I mean, in 2015, 2016, I was doing all sorts of light hacks and sauna and high UVB tanning beds to generate the vitamin D that I wasn't getting because for 6 months of the year I didn't see the sun.
So I'm just sitting in the midday sun, just soaking up that carbon.
Sun gazing, which is a little bit of a difficult term, but I look toward the sun. I do it in a safe fashion. Sometimes I'll smoke. I have my medical cannabis card in Florida, so I'll smoke a little bit of now I've changed where I live. I've adopted my routine to make sure that no matter what in the morning, I'm tending to my alignment and a vibrational frequency where I feel in harmony with